Well, the Zerg have larvae, so you can't really produce any units anywhere but out of your hatcheries. So what they used to do in StarCraft 1 is that you'd put several hatcheries, you have more production, but you don't really need to do that anymore because you have the queens. So queens are your main production, your main means of production. So I'm going to go ahead and start one right here. This one will will spawn automatically out of the hatchery and does not take your larva. Your larva, however, are what are necessary to build units. So we're going to go ahead here, and if you click on the hatchery, you will see that it says select larva. So if you click that button, it's going to select all of your larva, and then it's going to show you a menu of what units you can build. So we're going to build a couple of drones here. We're going to press D once for 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, well, actually I don't, what happened here? I don't have supply. So we're going to talk about that in a second here. Now, the Zerg supply is a little bit different. As you can see, my queen spawned here, but the Zerg supply is a little bit different. They use overlords, which are actually able to move anywhere across the map, but move extremely, extremely slow at the beginning of the game. So these are your supplies, and the same way you make drones, you want to use to produce overlords. So you're going to select larva and create an overlord. And I'm going to send these workers here. The hatchery can be rallied to your mineral line right there. And like I was saying, the queen here, this is the main means of production because it has the spawn larva capability, which if you put spawn larva on a hatchery, notice how these 4 eggs popped out on the hatchery. These are extra larvae that are going to come out because any hatchery can only produce 3 larvae automatically by itself. You don't actually have to make it produce larvae, but it will always only have 3 larvae at the most, and it's depending on time. So if I go ahead and use one of these larvae and then cancel this egg, I no longer have that larva, and I have to wait, I think it's something like 20 seconds or 15 seconds for the next one to pop out. So once I use spawn larva ability, look at this, now I have 5 larvae because those 6 larvae because those 4 spawned, and then the 2 that were already here are now available for use. So I'm going to go ahead and select larva and morph into drones, morph all of these into drones. And again, every time you use a building, you produce a building, you need to use the drone for the Zerg. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a simulator extractor here, which is the gas extracting unit for building for the Zerg. I'm going to put another one here. And I'm going to select my larva again and make a couple more drones. Now let's take a look at the Terrans. As you can see here, this SCV has finished building this building, so now he can go ahead and do whatever else he needs to do. The same basic mechanics. Your command center is actually a little bit unique in that most Terran buildings can lift off. So if you press this button right here, as you can see, the command center is now free to move anywhere in the map. And let me just take a look here real quick what's going on. Oh man, probably gonna lose this base pretty soon. Anyway, the command center can lift off and go anywhere. And one extra key feature that has been added in StarCraft 2 is that it can now load up to 5 SCVs. So I'm going to go ahead and press the load button right here in the bottom right. And as you can see, nearby SCVs have automatically been loaded into the command center. What this allows you to do is for maps where there are island expansions or where the expansion is surrounded by rocks, you can actually go ahead and make this command center, load a couple SCVs, and it actually gives you a nice little boost in production. So I'm going to head and actually produce some Zerglings so I don't get completely overrun here. No more supply, I guess. Completely overrun by these measly forces which are defeating my Nexus at the moment. I hope I don't really need to talk about the Protoss anymore. But anyway, going back to the command center here, you can press the unload key and the SCVs will go and mine and do whatever. Same mechanics, you can put the rally points, and as always you need an refinery is the building that you need to put on gas assimilators to build more, to be able to extract gas, excuse me. So these are just the basics of the game, guys. The Zerg, basically, their supply is different, their building method is different, their way of producing units. They only produce units out of here. What units you can produce will be determined by the drones, by the buildings that you have, which are put down by drones. The Terrans, they have SCVs which produce units at individually. They produce buildings, and this building can produce as many Marines as you want. And you need to put down. I'm sorry, I almost forgot to talk about supply for the Terran. Their supply consists of supply depots. So as you can see here in the build queue, you can put down a supply depot, same as anything else. You can put it anywhere on the map. And let's take a look here. What's going on? Yeah, I figured I'd be getting attacked here. I'm gonna send the queen. Anyway. The supply depot can go down anywhere on the map, and as you can see, the SCV will continue to produce it. Now, once it's done, you're free to do whatever you want. But one thing you can do, guys, if you need this SCV to immediately do something else after it's done producing this building, you can hold down the shift key and click wherever it needs to go. And as you can see, that line that's being formed, those are shift commands. And you can issue pretty much any command to any unit, so it doesn't have to be just workers. So it could be the drones. If you need them to, well, actually you can't really, once a drone goes down, it goes down. But if you need a probe to put down a pylon, say for example, and then go back to mining, you can just hold down shift, click the building, put the building down, and then click back the mineral, and you don't have to keep worrying about that probe or what's doing. Also works with attacking units. You can send them to attack one place, send them to another place, and then send them to a different place. Let's see if our drones are able to epically make a comeback here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. Oh, ho, ho. Look at that. Drone massacre. So we're gonna go ahead and put down another hatchery. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind, guys, is once your hatchery is down, your creep is going to start retreating, and buildings that are not on creep start taking damage automatically. Look at this extractor, which was actually hit quite a bit, but it's still taking damage. Look at that, 233, 234. Okay, buildings that are in creep will regenerate automatically. Same for the units. Units, actually, I'm not sure if it's off creep as well. I think it is. I'm a little bit unsure about that, to be honest with you. But look at the spawning pool, how quickly it is going down in health because it is no longer being supported by creep. Later on, you can actually use your overlords to drop creep, but I will talk about that in a different video. The Terrans have this problem where once a building starts getting caught on fire, when it hits the red mark, it would actually start burning down. So if you don't repair that building, that's one thing that the SCVs can also do, is repair. If you don't repair that building, it's going to be burnt down and be destroyed forever. So you need to be careful when your buildings start catching on fire. When they're low on health, you should be able to repair them. Same for the Zerg. If you have buildings that are not on creep, you should definitely try to get them on creep as soon as possible. And we're going to put down a hatchery here, though this video is almost over. And for the Protoss, which is no longer here, the Protoss, their mechanic for buildings is that they have shields, and I wish I should have saved at least one probe to show you. They have shields, and once those shields are down, they will take permanent damage that cannot be repaired, both their units and their buildings. So the shields regenerate fairly quickly once they're not being attacked, but once you're taking serious damage, they will no longer be able to regenerate shields. So those are just some of the basics of RTS in general and Starcraft and the 3 different races, and I hope if you are new that this is been informative for you and helpful, and I will definitely be doing a little bit more advanced, not as basic videos in the future. So please stick around, subscribe, comment, like, share, watch some of the other commentaries. Don't forget to check out my channel. There are playlists on different types of strategies and different types of tips and trips that you can do, for especially for more advanced players, or maybe for those that are having particular difficulty with certain builds. You can go ahead and check some of those out. And thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time, and have a good day.